I never expected that intertwining my life with my new husband Richard and his son Logan would unveil layers of depth and complexity far surpassing the simple act of merging our lives. Deciding to share my life with Richard has been an incredibly profound choice, one that has brought immense fulfillment, yet it has also ushered in a whirlwind of unexpected changes. At the brink of 21, Logan stood at a crossroads, grappling with the weight of his future as he reflected on the path that lay ahead after finishing his studies. As Richard left for work, an unsettling silence enveloped the house, leaving me alone with my son, the weight of solitude pressing heavily upon us. Between us, an effortless facade masked the storm brewing beneath the surface. It felt almost deceptively simple. At first, our relationship was shrouded in distance, a chasm that seemed insurmountable. Yet, as time unfolded, we discovered a fragile thread that drew us closer, allowing us to peel back the layers and truly grasp the depths of one another. Logan's deep contemplation and remarkable maturity forged a connection between us that felt both profound and unsettling, leaving an undeniable tension in the air. At first, I dismissed his kindness and courtesy as simple gestures, but as time unfolded, brief yet significant moments emerged, igniting a tumultuous inner conflict and leading me to wonder if there was a deeper truth lurking beneath the surface, one that we both feared to confront. That morning, the air crackled with unspoken words and the weight of anticipation hung heavily in the silence. As I settled into the stillness of my home, anticipation coursed through me, a quiet thrill at the thought of a day untouched by Richard's presence. As I stood in the bathroom, the weight of the moment pressed down on me, each second stretching into an eternity as I wrapped up my morning routine. The relentless sound of the shower echoed through the room, steam swirling ominously as it clung to the mirrors, obscuring reflections and secrets alike. As I sat in heavy silence, the echoes of my conversation with Logan from the night before surged back, each word laden with unspoken weight. The conversation concluded with an unexpected calmness, leaving an unsettling tension in the air. We laid bare our hopes for the uncertain future that loomed before him, entwined with the fervent dreams he was desperately chasing. Yet, I felt an unsettling doubt in his gaze that haunted me. That morning, as I stood in front of the mirror, the heat of the hairdryer mingling with the tension in the air, a sound pierced through the silence at the bathroom door. Logan's voice, low and urgent, echoed from the other side, sending a shiver down my spine. It descends with a haunting grace. "Are you truly here?" In an instant, everything shifted as I blinked, leaving me utterly unprepared. Logan frequently bypassed the customary act of knocking on the bathroom door, especially during those hushed, fragile moments of dawn. With a heavy heart, I paused to confront my reflection, the weight of my thoughts pressing down on me before I finally turned towards the door. "Without a doubt, Logan. I am here for you, every moment, every heartbeat. What has been weighing on your heart lately?" After a heavy pause, an unsettling rustle broke the stillness, creeping from beyond the door. "I apologize for the interruption, but I must urgently retrieve something from the bathroom. Could you please step inside for just a moment?" In that fleeting instant, doubt gripped me tightly. The steam hung heavily in the air, enveloping me as I clutched a thin towel around my body, my damp hair spilling down like a waterfall after the shower. Logan's voice resonated with an undeniable clarity, creating an atmosphere thick with anticipation as he reached out for something deeper from me. I nodded, forcing myself to keep my voice steady as I responded. "Step inside if you dare." With a hesitant push, the door creaked open, and Logan rapped lightly, his voice trembling with concern. "I need to talk to you about something truly important." He donned sports pants, his hair a wild mess, as though he had just clawed his way out of a restless slumber. With a fleeting glance in my direction, he abruptly pivoted toward the closet, urgency etched on his face as he searched for something elusive. As I stood before the mirror, a palpable shift in our interactions gripped me, compelling me to confront the tumultuous evolution of our relationship. As I stepped into the room, his gaze held me captive for a heartbeat longer, a silent tension crackling in the air before he finally looked away. A wave of unease washed over me as I sensed the turmoil that gripped him. Before long, I noticed that he had ceased his relentless pursuit. "Text, I discovered it," he whispered, his voice trembling as he held the jar of pain relief medication like a fragile secret. Yet, instead of leaving, he made the fateful decision to stay. Once more, his gaze held me captive. "Are you bracing yourself for something extraordinary?" "Not yet, the day is just unfolding before me." I met his gaze, fighting to hold onto a fragile sense of normalcy. What could possibly be the reason behind that? As she leaned against his shoulders and the bed, an oppressive weight filled the room, thickening the air with each passing second. A wave of uncertainty washes over me. "Palpable change has taken hold within you," That comment left me utterly stunned. Have I truly undergone a transformation? I faced him, the towel clinging to my skin, my eyes locked onto his with an intensity that spoke volumes. His eyes held a profound depth, whispering of enigmas that eluded my grasp. An intense and all-consuming sensation. An awe-inspiring sight that left me utterly speechless. Have you noticed any changes in me recently? Can you please explain what you mean? I approached him with a surprising calmness, contrary to the storm of emotions brewing within me. Logan's tongue brushed against his lips, a fleeting distraction that heightened the intensity before his gaze locked onto mine again. Words elude me, slipping through my fingers like sand, leaving a void filled with unspoken turmoil. I'm engulfed in a haze of uncertainty about the answer. In that moment, an overwhelming silence enveloped me, leaving me utterly speechless. The silence that enveloped us became a suffocating weight, pressing down with an unbearable intensity. The air crackled with an unyielding tension, shrouding everything in a heavy veil of uncertainty, making the path forward feel fraught with peril. It was Logan, the child of my partner, standing there, a silent storm brewing in the air around him. A surge of conflicting emotions twisted within, a sense of wrongness that gnawed at the very core of my being. A tumultuous struggle raged within me as I grappled with the complexities of our shifting relationship. Before I could gather my thoughts, Logan moved in, narrowing the space that separated us. As I locked eyes with him, my heart pounded fiercely, a whirlwind of uncertainty swirling within me, leaving me paralyzed in the moment. He halted just a few meters away, his eyes locked onto mine with an intensity that sent a shiver down my spine. He delivered it in a soft, almost trembling voice, laden with unspoken weight. I must confess, this may come across as strange, but lately I've been grappling with something that eludes my understanding. In that fleeting moment, the air vanished from my lungs, leaving me gasping in desperation. Silence enveloped me, rendering me utterly speechless. A wave of uncertainty washed over me as I grappled with how to respond. Honestly, I experienced the same intense feelings, perceiving that delicate change in our connection as if we were inching closer in a profound manner, surpassing the boundaries of our familial ties. I began to speak, my voice trembling with barely contained emotion. Logan, I find myself lost in confusion, yet just as I was on the brink of completion, he leaned in, his presence intensifying, and gently brushed his hand against mine. The interaction crackled with intensity and depth, igniting a whirlwind of emotions within me. It was exhilarating, igniting a profound sense of awe within me. As I observed the scene unravel, my heart pounded fiercely, a stark indication that we had breached an unexpected threshold. Despite the slow burn that had led us here, Logan's voice trembled as he whispered, "I know it's not right." As he grasped my hand, his voice quivered under the immense burden of his emotions. Yet my emotions are beyond my grasp. Silence enveloped the moment, leaving only a heavy weight of unspoken thoughts. The weight of the moment pressed down on me, plunging me into a sea of contemplation, my thoughts spiraling in a chaotic dance, each one more intricate than the last. He was my lord, the unwavering protector of Richard. Yet, the profound bond one experienced with him was undeniable. In that moment, an overwhelming urge surged within me to declare my need to depart as I took a hesitant step back, severing the fragile bond that tethered us together. A tremor betrayed my voice, and a flush of heat surged through my cheeks. Logan's heart ached as he conveyed his profound sorrow, his voice barely a whisper as he uttered an apology, laden with regret. I regret it, even if it was never meant to happen. With a deep breath, I found my voice, desperately seeking to regain my footing in the chaos that surrounded me. "We'll talk later, when the time is right." I rushed after him, abandoning the bathroom in a flurry, my heart racing with urgency. My mind spun in a chaotic storm of confusion, guilt, and a raw emotion that I was not prepared to confront. As I slowly shut the door of my room, a wave of solitude washed over me, igniting a flicker of hope within the shadows of my heart. My heart pounded violently against my chest. What just happened? How did it all spiral out of control so quickly? What crucial decision looms before him at this very moment? Despite the absence of any significant event, a profound sense of disorientation enveloped me, leaving me in a state of turmoil, grappling with the uncertainty of my next step. All day long, I fought to maintain the facade of normalcy, concealing the turmoil brewing beneath the surface. I finished the housework, managed the shopping, and tried to push aside the haunting memories of what transpired in the bathroom. No matter how fiercely I fought against it, Logan's memories haunted my mind, refusing to fade away. His proximity, the heat of his caress, and the profound emotion reflected in his gaze, unlike anything I had ever encountered, etched themselves into my heart and mind, rendering them indelible. The result shattered my expectations, leaving a heavy weight in my chest. I wed Richard, and in that moment, Logan stepped into my life as my stepson. What was once a simple and intimate bond between us transformed in an instant, a shift so subtle that I failed to see it until it was far too late. As the hours stretched on, I was engulfed in a profound solitude within the confines of my home. After our meeting, Richard left for one of his work trips, and I was left alone, drowning in a sea of my own thoughts. At home, the silence was deafening, wrapping around me like a shroud, forcing me to confront the stark truth of what had unfolded. Over and over, that moment haunted my mind, a relentless echo of what once was. The warmth and closeness we shared ignited a fire within me, his words resonating like a drumbeat in my chest, amplifying the undeniable pull that drew us together. As night fell, a deepening sense of dread enveloped me, tightening its grip with each passing moment. As the day dragged on, the silence surrounding Logan weighed heavily on me, stirring a tumult of emotions beneath the surface even as I tried to maintain a facade of calm. A wave of uncertainty washed over me as I contemplated how to approach him after everything that had unfolded. The thought of his potential questions left me on edge, unsure of how to respond if he dared to bring it up. Yet a part of me, despite my desperate attempts to suppress it, ached profoundly for his presence. I was consumed by a relentless curiosity about his whereabouts, the thoughts swirling in his mind, and if he too grappled with the same haunting uncertainty that enveloped me. As I sat on the sofa, cradling a nearly empty glass of wine, a chilling sound pierced the silence. The main door creaked open, echoing through the stillness of the room. A sudden jolt within me, I released the glass instantly, my mind racing as I sought to regain my composure. Moments later, Logan stepped into the room, his face an impassive mask concealing the turmoil within. As our eyes locked, an intense silence wrapped around us, thick with unspoken words. We found ourselves ensnared in the profound abyss of one another's stare. The air crackled with unspoken words, a heavy weight hanging between us. He greeted me softly, shattering the silence with his warm words, each syllable hanging in the air, charged with unspoken emotions. His voice trembled with a delicate uncertainty, each word laced with the weight of hesitation, as if the very act of approaching me was a daunting trial. Upon hearing his greeting, I replied, my voice trembling with raw emotion. As I opened my eyes, a chilling wave of unease surged through me, gripping my heart with an unsettling intensity. He revealed his deep-seated doubts, a storm brewing within him. I wasn't sure you would return today, he said, his voice laced with uncertainty. Indeed, I yearned to savor a moment in the embrace of nature. He gazed through the glass, his mind swirling with unspoken fears and uncharted desires. He radiated an unsettling tension as if he were in a frantic pursuit to unearth the exact words that could capture the moment. Yet there was an intensity in his gaze, a depth that mirrored the tumult of my own emotions. In the midst of my struggles, my thoughts overwhelmed me, wrapping around my mind like a relentless storm. It was my moment to unveil the depths of my feelings, to illuminate the shadows that enveloped us, to carve out clarity and understanding amidst the chaos. Yet, I struggled to express the tumult of my thoughts through mere words. I held my gaze on him, captivated by the way the shirt clung to his torso, the fabric accentuating every contour, while his dark hair cascaded softly over his eyes, shrouding them in mystery. He had transformed entirely since the moment I said, I do to Richard. He had experienced a dramatic and unsettling transformation in his adult life. In that moment, enveloped by the heavy silence of the room, the weight of the feeling became undeniable. Logan stepped forward, his voice heavy with regret as he sought to mend the rift from our last conversation. His tone was laced with an unsettling softness. He longed to maintain a sense of ease in the midst of rising uncertainty. Yet, I am engulfed in a whirlwind of confusion about what unfolded. I shook my head, a heavy sigh escaping from the depths of my being. I voiced my thoughts, but the weight of my tone revealed the underlying turmoil. Shock washed over me, leaving me utterly unprepared. Very well, let us strip away every last possibility. He offered a subtle nod, the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. As he lifted his gaze, our eyes locked in a charged moment, heavy with unspoken words. There are moments when I am consumed by doubt, grappling with the unsettling feeling of not belonging in this family. There are moments when the weight of my feelings makes it nearly impossible to find the right words to share with you. I know it's wrong, yet grappling with my emotions feels like an insurmountable struggle. The words he uttered sent shivers down my spine, wrapping around me like a vice, leaving me gasping for air. A profound urgency gripped me, compelling me to express something that could halt this situation from descending into chaos. Yet, I could not shake the haunting reality of his words. The connection between us was undeniable, a force that had been simmering beneath the surface for what felt like an eternity, and grappling with it was a struggle I could hardly bear. "Logan," I began to utter the words, my heart racing. My words trembled forth, laced with an unsettling intensity. "It feels completely out of reach. This cannot be allowed to happen. You are the fortress that shields Richard, and I feel I stepped in," his voice thick with despair. Despite that understanding, my emotions clung stubbornly to their original state. He edged closer, and an intense warmth enveloped me, igniting a surge of emotions within. With each pulse of my heart, the chasm that separated us began to close. I intended to retreat, to carve out a distance between us, but my legs were as if bound, refusing to move. Instead, I remained rooted in place, feeling my heart pound fiercely in my chest. Rather than retreating, I made the choice to extend my hand and grasp his, a decision laden with unspoken tension. The connection was electric, wrapping around me in a warmth that demanded my full attention. I fixed my eyes on him, a storm of emotions brewing within me. A surge of emotions overwhelmed me as I caught a glimpse of the same intensity reflected in his gaze. A palpable uncertainty hung in the air, intertwined with a profound yearning and an overwhelming burden of remorse. Every raw emotion hung heavily in the air between us, palpable and undeniable. Logan's voice trembled as he revealed his wish to spare me from hurt, his finger lingering on the back of my hand, igniting a spark of tension between us. Yet I can no longer maintain the facade that this isn't happening. Acceptance eluded me, a heavy weight pressing down on my heart. My thoughts were ensnared in a tempest of clashing emotions. A powerful conviction surged within me, driving my every action with an intensity that was impossible to ignore. There was a bond between us, something that pulsed with an undeniable intensity, a connection that could not be ignored. Yet something about that felt profoundly off, didn't it? I stepped into the role of a stepmother to him, the son of Richard. This action seemed completely out of reach. As I stood there, my gaze fixed on him, the heat of his hand sent my heart racing. I came to the haunting realization that I lacked the strength to break free from the ties that bound me. Not at this moment. No, not when we stood at the precipice of something so profound, so undeniably authentic. I found myself ensnared in a harrowing predicament, my voice trembling, barely escaping as a fragile whisper. Logan moved closer, his grip on my hand growing firmer, a silent intensity crackling between us. "We don't have to resolve everything right now," he said, his voice a soft whisper, laced with an undercurrent of unspoken weight. "We must face the reality of the situation head-on, rather than burying our heads in the sand and pretending it doesn't exist." The words he spoke hung in the air, thick with the weight of everything left unsaid, creating an electric tension that crackled between us. In that fleeting moment, the profound weight of his success crashed over me like a tidal wave, leaving me breathless. Maintaining the facade had become utterly impossible. After what felt like an eternity, the strain between us became unbearable, and when the truth finally emerged, it was as if we had crossed an irreversible line. Before I could gather my thoughts, Logan laid bare his emotions, plunging me into a whirlwind of uncertainty about the very limits of our connection. In that charged moment, I made the choice to respond with a kiss. My hand lingered on his neck, pulling him closer, the air thick with unspoken words. That moment encapsulated the profound sorrow and the weight of unvoiced emotions we had buried deep within us. A haunting ache of longing, a swirl of uncertainty and remorse intertwined with an intense emotional bond that echoed the essence of love. Little did I know the weight it carried. A heavy cloud of uncertainty loomed over the destination we were approaching. In that moment, an unexpected wave of tranquility surged through me, contrasting sharply with the chaos surrounding us. As we uttered our final farewells, a heavy breath escaped us both, laden with unspoken words and lingering emotions. With our foreheads pressed together, the gravity of our recent choices loomed over us, leaving us both stunned. Yet, rather than being consumed by remorse, an unexpected emotion washed over me. A profound sense of tranquility that felt almost surreal. A wave of relief washed over me as the simmering tension between us erupted at last. The masks were finally gone. A weight lifted from our faces and our hearts. Logan's eyes locked onto mine, a storm of conflicting emotions swirling within them. He whispered, his voice barely above a breath, "What should we do next?" He paused, a clear reflection of the storm raging within him. "The silence is deafening. I have yet to hear anything back." The air was thick with the weight of change, a palpable shift that altered everything between us. In that fleeting moment, as I grasped his hand tightly, a profound realization washed over me. I had no desire to go back. In that fleeting moment, I made it clear that this was far from the end. Unbeknownst to me, the words escaped my lips, heavy with unspoken consequences. Then I added, "But together, we will unearth a path forward." An unsettling calm washed over me as he smiled, a sensation I hadn't experienced since that fateful morning in the bathroom. Regardless of what this means or how it transforms, we will face it together, united in the storm ahead. The tale continues to unravel, each moment thick with anticipation. In the days that followed, we found ourselves caught in a whirlwind of serene moments, tender gestures, and unspoken emotions that hung heavily in the air between Logan and me. In the aftermath of that first kiss, an undeniable tension hung in the air, as we both grappled with the gravity of having crossed an unspoken line. Yet, rather than being consumed by guilt or sorrow, an unexpected wave of relief washed over us, as if the heavy burden of unspoken tension that had hung in the air for weeks had finally dissipated. Yet, in that fleeting moment of relief, an unsettling realization gripped us. Our future had irrevocably shifted, leaving us to grapple with the unknown. In Richard's absence for work, Logan and I often found ourselves alone at home, the silence thick with unspoken words and lingering tension. The fleeting moments of calm we shared together took on a weighty significance, charged with unspoken emotions. Every gesture and each expression of joy masked a world of unvoiced questions lingering in the air like a heavy fog. What is the connection of this to our group? Where will our journey take us next? And above all, how long can we truly safeguard the secrecy of this information? One fateful evening, mere days after our electrifying first kiss, Logan and I stood together in the backyard once again, the air thick with unspoken words and lingering tension. As dusk descended, the sun reluctantly withdrew, leaving behind a haunting golden glow that enveloped the garden, while the air clung to a warmth that echoed the day's fading embrace. We had settled into a familiar rhythm, our nights spent under the vast sky, where laughter mingled with the shadows, and every fleeting moment felt charged with an unspoken intensity, revealing the depth of our connection. Logan slid into the seat next to me, the air thick with unspoken words. Our elbows grazed against one another, igniting an electric spark in the air between us. A surge of emotion enveloped me, igniting a fire as his skin brushed against mine. His gaze pierced through me, and as I turned to confront him, a soft, hesitant smile emerged, igniting a rapid flutter in my chest. "Can I ask you something important?" He spoke softly, his voice trembling, barely rising above a whisper, as if the weight of his words could shatter the fragile silence around them. "Text, absolutely," I responded, my eyes flickering toward him, a charged silence hanging between us. He stared at his hands, a silent battle raging within him as he struggled to muster the courage to reveal his deepest emotions. "Have you truly grasped the weight of this moment, given the weight of our situation?" The weight of the moment pressed down on me, my heart racing violently within my chest. My thoughts spiraled into an abyss, a tempest of emotions raging within me, yet I stood frozen, my lips sealed, unwilling to give voice to the turmoil inside. The weight of the situation unfolding between the two was almost unbearable, leaving me grappling with the harsh truth that loomed before us. I realized with a jolt that my voice emerged far softer than I had ever expected. Doubt gnawed at me, leaving me questioning if I truly possess the answers I seek. He nodded slowly, his gaze falling to the ground, heavy with unspoken thoughts. "I need you to grasp that this is not something temporary or transient. Do you hear me? Your presence in my life holds an immense weight that I cannot ignore. I often venture far beyond the limits. This situation weighs heavily on me, and I struggle to contain the tumult of my emotions." The words you spoke hung in the air, thick with the weight of everything left unsaid. A crushing weight enveloped me, and my heart throbbed painfully as I faced the stark reality of your words. A profound worry gripped me for his well-being as it appeared to spiral into dangerous territory. Yet, an overwhelming sense of dread gripped me as I contemplated the implications for us, for the uncertain path ahead, for my bond with Richard. "Text," I poured out my concern for you, my voice trembling with raw emotion. "This situation transcends our personal experiences. weaving a complex web that binds us all in its grip. Richard occupies a profound space in our hearts, intricately entwined with the very essence of our existence. What if he discovers the truth? Logan's face radiated a profound intensity. As he grappled with his emotions, his jaw clenched tightly. I can see where you're coming from. My feelings for him run deep, yet I can no longer ignore the tumultuous emotions that surge between us. I fumbled for the right words as he pressed his lips against mine, a gentle bite igniting a storm of emotions within me. Our bond was authentic, yet we were acutely aware that consequences loomed on the horizon. Causing Richard pain was the last thing I ever wanted. Despite my reluctance to disappoint him, I found myself unable to overlook the undeniable connection that pulsed between Logan and me. I whispered, my voice trembling with doubt as the weight of the decision loomed heavily over me. Yet I came to the stark realization that I can no longer turn a blind eye to this escalating situation. As I gazed upward, Logan's eyes mirrored a tumultuous mix of feelings, a flicker of hope intertwined with a heavy sense of apprehension and an aching yearning that pulls at the heart. He hesitated, his hand hovering before mine, before finally closing the distance, his warm fingers weaving through mine with a tender urgency. The closeness wrapped around me, a fragile veil of serenity that both soothed and ignited a flicker of hope within my spirit, leaving me breathless in that fleeting moment. With a quiet intensity, he assured me that a resolution awaited us, his finger lingering along the back of my hand, igniting a spark of unspoken emotions. We will confront this journey side by side, no matter the obstacles that lie ahead. His words struck a chord deep within me, igniting a fire of unwavering belief in my heart. In that fleeting instant, clarity pierced through the chaos. Fear, confusion, and uncertainty dissolved, giving way to a piercing clarity that cut through the chaos. Though we were shrouded in uncertainty, the absence of clarity felt almost liberating, as if the quest for understanding was secondary to the weight of our emotions. What truly mattered was the strength of our unity in this matter, and the weight of our shared concern loomed larger than anything else. We stood in a heavy silence as the sun sank beneath the horizon, casting elongated shadows that writhed ominously across the garden. The gentle breeze hung heavy in the air, while the distant chirping of crickets pierced the fragile stillness, marking the tense shift from day to the encroaching darkness of night. I leaned my head on Logan's shoulder, the steady rhythm of his breathing resonating within me, and an overwhelming wave of tranquility surged through my being, a sensation I had long thought lost to time. Though I longed to grasp that moment eternally, the harsh reality lingered just within reach. Soon, Richard would return home, and the mere thought of his arrival sent a shiver of dread coursing through me. How do I face that piercing gaze, fully aware of the tumultuous history that binds Logan and me? How can one maintain the illusion that all is well when beneath the surface, turmoil brews and nothing feels as it should? In the days that followed, Logan and I struggled to maintain a facade of calm, desperately trying to weave a sense of ease around us, all the while acutely aware of the looming confrontation with the harsh reality of our circumstances. Our connection was undeniable, yet the weight of regret began to crush my heart. On the night before Richard's return, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, a storm of emotions swirling within me. Amidst the relentless turmoil of my thoughts, the quest for peace seemed utterly unattainable. In the stillness of the house, an unsettling tension hung in the air, broken only by the sporadic hum of the air conditioning, a sound that seemed to echo the uncertainty lurking just beneath the surface. Yet the quest for peace and the embrace of sleep seemed forever out of reach. Logan's presence invaded my thoughts, resurrecting memories of our intimacy and the profound bond we once shared, igniting emotions that had been buried for far too long. In that moment, I understood that a pivotal choice awaited me. The weight of uncertainty bore down on me, each moment a struggle as I grappled with my conflicting emotions for Logan and my unwavering commitment to Richard. Yet the mere idea of making that choice, of severing ties with one of them, was an unbearable agony that weighed heavily on the heart. As I lay there, engulfed in my swirling thoughts, a faint sound crept from the door of the room, sending a shiver down my spine. My heart pounded violently as though it were lodged in my throat, threatening to escape. I sank into my seat, my heart pounding wildly, each beat echoing the tension that hung in the air. I urged the person to step inside, my voice barely above a whisper, laden with unspoken urgency. My words emerged, trembling with an unspoken weight. With a heavy heart, the door creaked open, and Logan rapped gently, his voice trembling with concern. "I need to talk to you about something important," he said, his expression grave and heavy with unspoken weight. As he closed the door behind him, he sank onto the edge of the bed, the heavy burden of the day pressing down on him like an unyielding shadow. In that moment, silence wrapped around us like a heavy shroud, and the burden of unvoiced thoughts hung palpably in the air. He spoke in a hushed tone, his eyes fixed on the ground, revealing the weight of his words about Richard and the gravity of the circumstances they faced. I would prefer not to impose any pressure on you to make a decision. It was a struggle for him to come to terms with that reality. His earnest tone coiled around my heart, creating an unbearable tension. In that electrifying moment, he abruptly broke the silence, pouring out his heart with fervent intensity. His voice resonated powerfully, brimming with profound emotion. Somewhere along the way, an overwhelming love for you took root in my heart, and now it consumes me entirely. I understand that my hopes may not align with yours, yet I implore you to take a moment to reflect on the depth of my feelings. His words struck me with a force that left me gasping, momentarily lost in the weight of their meaning. Deep within my soul, I clung to the hope that he shared my feelings, a hope that flickered like a fragile flame in the shadows of uncertainty. As he uttered those words, a surge of raw emotion coursed through him, revealing a profound authenticity that left him vulnerable and exposed. "Text, I too feel a profound affection for you," I whispered, my voice barely breaking the silence laden with unspoken emotions. The words escaped my lips, unbidden and raw, as if they had a life of their own. Logan's intense gaze pierced through me, his eyes flickering with a tumultuous blend of astonishment and yearning. I asked, "Truly? I feel that deeply." My heart raced wildly in my chest, but that only complicates matters further. In that heavy silence, an overwhelming stillness enveloped me, rendering me speechless, unable to continue the conversation that hung in the air like a fragile thread. In that fleeting moment, a profound understanding washed over me, striking deep within my core. I made the daring choice to unveil my authentic self, my eyes aching with a desperate longing to intertwine with his. In retrospect, I realized that my choice was fueled by raw emotion, overshadowing any semblance of rational thought. Yet, in that moment, an unsettling calm washed over me, as if the storm was merely waiting to unleash its fury. He grasped my message with an intensity that left no room for doubt and eagerly accepted my proposal. I pressed myself against him, our lips meeting in a soft yet electric kiss that lingered in the air, charged with unspoken emotions. We surrendered to our emotions, and the atmosphere crackled with an overwhelming intensity. I decided to confront my emotions, and in that moment of reckoning, I discovered a profound sense of tranquility. Yet, just as everything ignited with fervor, it also met a sudden and abrupt end. The thrill he must have felt resonates deeply within me, and I grasp it completely. In that fleeting moment, he reached out, his fingers wrapping around mine with an intensity that sent a shiver down my spine. We stood in heavy silence, our eyes locking in a charged moment that conveyed unspoken truths. The burden of existence pressed down on our shoulders, suffocating and relentless. With a heavy heart and a voice trembling with unspoken weight, he whispered, each word laced with an undercurrent of urgency. "We will unearth a path ahead, no matter the formidable obstacles that stand in our way." In that moment, an overwhelming wave of trust surged within me, anchoring me to his words. Despite the weight of the decision pressing down on me, an undeniable clarity surged within, whispering the truth of the right path to take. As Richard stepped through the door that morning, an unsettling calm enveloped the room, a stillness that hinted at the chaos lurking just beneath the surface. The tension simmering between Logan and me was palpable, a force that could no longer be ignored. He hung in the air like a haunting fog, wrapping around us, leaving no chance for escape. Richard's return sent a ripple of unease through us, a palpable shift in the air that hinted at impending upheaval. Yet we were left in the dark about what lay ahead. Our relationship has spiraled into an unexpected and tumultuous path. We had plunged into the depths of our intricate emotions, uncovering layers we never knew existed. No matter how fiercely I fought to erase it from my mind, it remained, an unyielding presence, ever close and unwavering. Upon his return, Richard was met with an embrace that felt both warm and heavy, a kiss on the cheek that lingered with unspoken words, and the haunting familiarity of their usual routine, now tinged with an unsettling tension. We reflected on the haunting moments of our separation. Richard seemed oblivious to the heavy silence that had settled like a shroud between us. The joy he once expressed now lingers like a haunting echo, casting shadows over the home that once thrived on its comforting familiarity. Yet beneath that facade, a suffocating weight bore down on his chest, threatening to crush him under its relentless pressure. Every glance we exchanged and every word we shared with Logan was heavy with the unspoken truths that hung in the air, thick with tension and unfulfilled longing. Richard's return plunged the situation into a whirlwind of uncertainty and heightened stakes. After dinner that night, Richard proposed we convene in the living room for an intimate and revealing discussion. I found myself in complete agreement. As I sank into the sofa, I forced a smile, but my heart pounded wildly, a tempest of emotions swirling within me. Logan sat across from me, his gaze piercing, the air thick with unspoken words. In that fleeting instant, our gazes locked, igniting a spark that hung heavy in the air. Regrettably, the absence of Richard cast a shadow over our attempts to initiate a conversation. He revealed to us the weight of his travel experience, the burdensome responsibilities that pressed upon him, compelling him to keep us informed. The voices around me reverberated, intensifying the struggle for my focus. In the end, Richard voiced his regrets, his departure for work hanging heavy in the air, leaving Logan and me alone in the living room, the silence thick with unspoken words. After he left, an oppressive silence descended upon the room, trapping them in a heavy moment of introspection. With a racing heart, Logan sat frozen in the chair. His hands tightened into fists, a desperate attempt to protect himself from the weight of my presence. I bowed my head, overwhelmed by a tide of guilt that crashed over me. I deeply understand the weight of this situation, but the moment has come for us to reveal this to Richard. He truly deserves far better than this treatment. He is utterly unworthy of it. Logan halted suddenly, his presence at my side once again sending a jolt through the air. What are your thoughts on this matter? He unleashed the question, hanging in the air like a storm cloud ready to burst. I exhaled deeply, the weight of the moment pressing down on me. The weight of my next words bore down on my heart, a suffocating presence that demanded to be released. It is imperative that we confront this issue head-on and find a resolution. The weight of this relentless uncertainty has grown intolerable, pressing down with an unyielding force. His gaze pierced through me, unyielding and intense. His face was a canvas of anguish and understanding, each emotion etched deeply into his features. He whispered softly, a hint of urgency in his voice. "You are right. What weight does that carry for our predicament?" The struggle to choose between Richard and Logan consumed me, leaving me in a state of unresolved turmoil. Yet I realized that the veil of secrecy could no longer be upheld. If we failed to act swiftly, the truth would unravel in a way that could shatter the hearts of all involved. I replied with raw sincerity, revealing that the answer still eluded me. He barely registered my voice, as if it were a whisper lost in the chaos around us. Being true to oneself is of utmost importance. We must fully understand the profound importance of every bond that ties us together. Logan nodded in agreement, yet the profound sorrow in his eyes was impossible to ignore. He drew nearer, the air thick with unspoken words. He sat beside me on the sofa, his hand lingering on mine, and in that fleeting moment, we surrendered to the heavy silence that enveloped us. The oppressive weight of our situation bore down on us, suffocating and relentless. His gentle touch ignited a flicker of warmth and comfort, compelling me to lie down beside him, my head finding refuge on his shoulder. He whispered his longing for a reality that was different, heavy with unspoken sorrow. I cautiously revealed that my feelings mirrored theirs, yet it feels increasingly impossible to maintain this facade forever. We lingered in that stillness, the weight of the silence pressing down on us, occasionally shattered by Richard's voice, a haunting echo from the room next door as he conversed on the phone. A heavy silence hung in the air, thick with anticipation as the inevitable confrontation loomed just beyond the horizon. The following morning, just as Richard was about to leave for work, I found myself face to face with Logan in the kitchen, an encounter that sent a jolt of surprise through the air. The silence between us was thick with unspoken words, each one heavy with the weight of what we had yet to reveal. The air crackled with tension, and it was imperative to spark a conversation to chart the next course of action. Yet the words slipped through my fingers like sand. In the end, I broke the silence with a fierce proclamation. Logan's face was etched with a deep, heavy seriousness. Indeed, I found myself deep in thought about that too. We huddled around the kitchen table, the air thick with unspoken words, seeking solace in one another's company. The weight of our conversation hung in the air, pressing down on us with an undeniable intensity. I hesitated, grappling with the tumult of my thoughts, each moment stretching into an agonizing eternity. The situation loomed ominously, shrouded in complexity and fraught with uncertainty. My words trembled on the edge of revelation, laced with doubt as I bared my soul to Richard. I must confront the reality of the situation that is unraveling between us. Logan, You occupy a unique and profound space in my heart, and the turmoil surrounding my marriage to your father weighs heavily on me. With a sense of urgency, Logan leaned forward, his elbows pressing against the table as if the weight of the moment demanded his full attention. As he bared his soul to Anna, a storm of emotions surged within him. I care for you more than words can express, and the mere thought of inflicting pain upon you crushes my heart. Simultaneously, the thought of separation weighs heavily on my heart, a burden that is almost unbearable. The words he spoke pierced my heart, and I felt the tears threatening to spill over, a storm of emotion rising within me. A profound urgency gripped me, compelling me to prevent his escape, yet the stark truth of our predicament loomed large and undeniable. The weight of the situation bore down on us, compelling a desperate change in our course to avert utter ruin. I revealed my urgent need to pause, my voice trembling slightly, betraying the storm of emotions swirling within me. It is crucial to navigate the complexities of this relationship with a profound sense of awareness and empathy. Creating some space might be crucial to achieving it. Logan's face became a haze, and I could feel the anguish radiating from his eyes. He underscored the critical need to establish a distance between us. His emotions reverberated through each word, heavy with unspoken weight. A crushing wave of despair engulfed me, the heavy burden on my heart palpable and suffocating. It seems to me that this is the only way to fully understand the depths of our emotions. It seems that a solution remains just out of reach, hanging in the balance until Richard reveals it. For what felt like an eternity, Logan sat in silence, his gaze fixed intensely on the table before him. The intense struggle carved into his features mirrored the chaos raging inside me, a storm of emotions threatening to break free. With a heavy heart, he inhaled sharply, releasing a soft sigh as he whispered, I understand if you think this is the only way. I reached out, my fingers trembling as I took his hand, the weight of the moment hanging heavily between us. Logan, the thought of our separation weighs heavily on my heart, yet we must confront the truth within ourselves and between us. He lifted his gaze, a profound sorrow and empathy swirling in his eyes, as if the weight of the world rested upon his shoulders. He voiced his profound fear of losing Lauren, a fear that gripped his heart, even as he steeled himself to do whatever was necessary. After that talk, I am left drained, but an unexpected wave of tranquility envelopes me. We ceased our charade and confronted the stark reality of our situation, a pivotal moment that ignited our journey toward grasping how to navigate the path ahead. Despite the overwhelming obstacles, it was the only way forward, a relentless journey toward progress. In the days that followed, Logan and I deliberately kept our distance, each moment stretching painfully as we grappled with the weight of our choices, yearning for clarity amidst the turmoil. It was a complex web, fraught with challenges yet utterly essential. As the shadows of uncertainty loomed over us, a fierce resolve ignited within me. No matter the trials that awaited, I felt an unbreakable bond, knowing we would face every storm together, united in our struggle. At last, a decision loomed on the horizon, yet for the moment, we pressed on, navigating the tangled web of emotions that had led us to this critical juncture. No matter the circumstances, the profound connection that bound us was unmistakable. What united us would withstand the test of time even as the circumstances shifted dramatically. That night, as I lay in bed, the house was shrouded in an unsettling silence, and an overwhelming sense of unease crept into my mind. Though it was far from perfect and fraught with challenges, there was an undeniable authenticity that resonated deeply, making it enough for that fleeting moment.